Hello, I'm Carrie Clevenger. I am the Artist Relations Director for the Bayou City Art Festival. And we're super excited that you're joining us tonight on Thursday, September 17th. Um, just a few minutes before we get started, I want to explain to you why we're doing this. This is part of our Save Our Art campaign. And these virtual happy hours art talks are part of a 5-part series. Tonight's number 3, and we're going to be talking to mixed media artist Jennifer Lashbrook. And this campaign was started because this year we've had to postpone or cancel both of our festivals, one in the spring and one in the fall. And we're going to move to a virtual experience, and that will take place on our website at bayoucityartfestival.com. And that's October 5th through 11th on our website. And we hope you're going to join us there. We're going to have a lot of interesting things. We're going to have a silent auction for a few days, and then we'll have our focus kind of shift to the artist on the last 3 days of the event. So first I want to thank our sponsors, Frost Bank, Stella Artois, and KPRC2. And throughout the broadcast tonight, you can text Save Our Art to 243-725. And you can make any amount of donation. We appreciate any amount. And there is an option for a reoccurring donation. If that's something you choose and you feel led to do, we would appreciate it very much. But if you can only donate $2, $3, $5, it's much appreciated. You're going to help us continue our mission to bring unique art experiences to Houston, as we've done for the last 49 years. So we hope to continue on. Now I want to bring in our special guest tonight. Her name is Jennifer Lashbrook. She is a mixed media artist from Dallas, Texas. Let's bring her in. Bear with. While we're bringing Jennifer in, I do want to give you a little heads up. If we lose the broadcast because of the internet, because we can't control that, just hang on tight. We'll be back. So just hang on and bear with us, okay? All righty. I think she's good. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. It's been a long time since I've seen you in person.
Long, I miss you.
It's really good to see your face. So Jennifer, you are a mixed media artist from Dallas, Texas, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you Texas born and raised?
I was born in Illinois, but we moved here when I was like 2. So my entire memory is from Texas. So I'm a Texan.
Nice. All right, and you tonight, Jennifer has been so kind to donate a print that we will be auctioning for our Save the Art campaign. You'll find the print, there it is. It's called the Houston Skyline, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and we're gonna be auctioning that tonight. And if you care to bid on the piece, you'll bid in the comment section of that picture. And the bid will end at 7:30 and the highest bidder wins. So thank you, Jennifer. It's artists like you that help us continue our mission to do unique art experiences in the city of Houston. So first, we want to talk about your cocktail tonight. So for those of you who may have missed it, Jennifer chose a cocktail tonight, and it's called the Tequila Elderflower Mojito. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, just something different, kind of refreshing. It's like a mojito, but made with tequila and Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur. So it's like muddled lime, a little bit of sugar, and then tequila and elderflower liqueur over crushed ice. Good summertime drink.
Good.
Gotta get it in moist so can.
Nice. And so if you out there are watching and you're gonna make this drink, post pictures, tag us in it, use our tags HOU Art Fest, BCAF, and of course, hashtag Save Our Art. Take pictures of yourself enjoying this night with Jennifer. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. She's a pretty fun girl. I've known Jennifer for 5 years now. She's always kind of been a bright spot at the festival for me. So we're gonna get to know her, talk about her art and her process a little bit, and then maybe some favorite things that she likes. So post your photos of you enjoying your cocktail with me and Jennifer. Use the hashtags BCAF, HOU Art Fest, and Save Our Art. And again, I'll reiterate, text to donate, it's in the corner back here, 243-725, text Save Our Art to donate. All right, Jennifer, tell us a little bit about your journey into art.
It's something I've always been interested in. Started painting when I was about 10 years old. We would always go to the farm in Illinois to visit my grandparents, and my parents signed me up for like a Bob Ross style painting class. And that kind of started me in oil painting. So in high school, that's what I focused on, took AP classes, and decided that's what I wanted to do with my life. So I got my degree from University of North Texas in drawing and painting, minored in psychology, was thinking I would go the art therapy route, but of course my dream was to actually like make a living selling my art. So I was a realistic oil painter in college, and then my sophomore year is when I took a class called hybrid forms, where you couldn't just paint, you had to kind of combine different mediums, do something different. And I was always in the hardware store buying lumber to build my canvases. So paint section caught my eye, and I'm like, why don't you try and use paint swatches as your medium? So that kind of started this whole thing. I was doing them more realistically at the time. And then the pixelation I switched over to in like 2012. So kind of hard to see in the photos, but they're all made out of like 1 inch squares of paint swatches.
That's an interesting medium there. So did you have any training like in mosaic type things before you decided to use the paint swatches?
No, I mean I took some metalsmithing classes and focused on like oil painting, some acrylic, but I never really did any mosaics. But a lot of people compare my work to mosaic work.
Okay. Yeah, because it looks like that to me. And for those of you who have not seen Jennifer's work in person, when you walk up, sometimes it's a little bit like it's big. So you're kind of like, what am I looking at? And then you kind of focus in with your eyes. And she does this little trick with, tell them about your little trick with the cell phone.
Yeah, so the cell phone kind of changes your focal depth. Like when you're up close to my pieces, you really can't tell what a lot of them are. And then if you step back at a distance, or if you just turn on your camera through your phone, because it condenses the image down, it kind of changes your focal depth, and you can see them so much more clearly through your cell phone.
Nice, nice.
Kind of like a fun interactive things for the shows, because people gather around in like, you know, uh, in groups and are just like shocked by the difference, how it looks to their eyes versus on the phone screen. But of course, when you live with it in your house, from down the hallway, up your staircase, from the next room, you see it clearly. It's just a matter of distance.
Nice. I have one of Jennifer's pieces in my home, and it's often in the background when I'm on Zoom calls, and everyone always kind of looks and what is that? What is that? So and actually my sister was on a Zoom call one day, and the call with kept asking about the piece in the background. And it was very timely because, well, we'll be talking to Jennifer soon. Um, Soon we're going to be joined by Harry McMahon from Frost Bank. And he's going to talk to us a little bit. Frost Bank is one of our sponsors, and we couldn't do this without our sponsors. So we're very grateful, and we're enjoying, some of our Stella. And later in the program, we're going to have some moments of some trivia questions where you can win some prizes. And we encourage you guys, if you have questions for Jennifer, please make those in the comments section of the live feed, and we'll be sure to try to get to as many questions as possible. Harry's gonna join us soon, and we're probably gonna have to come back to this, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. And I don't wanna go too deep into that yet until Harry joins us. But we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that has affected all of us. And that's why we're here. We're doing all of this virtual stuff. That's why we're going to have a virtual experience in October rather than our live experience. It does not in any way, shape, or form replace what it's like to see her stuff live, other artists live. But we are going to have this virtual event October 5th through 11th. And Jennifer, how has the pandemic kind of affected you as an artist?
I mean, like everyone, everything is so different right now. I mean, on the positive side, I'm here in my studio. I get to like focus on my work, and no traveling, which is really gives me a lot of focus. I can kind of experiment with new things. But I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard, just like it's been hard for everyone. But getting to spend a lot of time with my nephews and doing a lot of babysitting, and just keep creating and working on new series.
Do you think that there's been anything that's inspired you to create out of all this?
I mean, just having the nonstop time here, it's so nice to just be able to focus and not, be stressed out about packing the van and did I remember my tent top and all the little details that you're always worried about for festivals. So, I'm kind of doing some different things with my work, and I'm excited to show those to y'all at the next show.
Nice. Yes. And we can't wait to see him. Like I mentioned earlier, Jennifer's a bright light at the festival. Her booth is always very busy, right, Jennifer? It's always very busy with a lot of people because again, when you see her work, it's not just something you can just kind of walk by. She has a lot of icons, pop icons, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But her work is pretty large scale. But you do offer original pieces and prints, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, I have the originals, which are one of one, and then for my large limited editions, I usually do them in editions of like 25, where I hand embellish texture on them. But I also do commissions, so it's not just the pieces I offer. I'm willing to work with clients for the subject matter.
Right. Nice. Again, we want to kind of remind you about the print she has kindly donated to this event tonight, and you can bid on it and bid in the comment section of that print. And bidding will stop at 7:30, and the highest bidder wins. And we'll let you know if you're the winner. Um, oh yeah, we keep hearing a ding. Is that your phone?
Yes, okay. So like my phone's on
Or
silent.
just came over?
On my computer. I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed right now.
No, it's fine. I just like there's a mysterious ding. I don't know. I didn't do it.
It's like all day long, nobody contacts me, and then of course in this hour it's
my phone's been buzzing. I'm like, well, I'm glad you finally decided to talk to me. Oh, hey, we have a question from the audience.
Should be good. I'm so
We
sorry.
have a question. Let's see. Kristen asked, you seem to use a lot of celebrities in your art. How do you decide who to feature? That's a good question.
I always try to work from, people that inspire me, icons, artists whose work I love. I get a lot of ideas from people at the shows, at festivals, oh, you should do this, you should do that. But it's just people that I admire and look up
Yeah.
to.
Kind of give you the inspiration because I see Marilyn with the bubble gum back there in the corner and Frida. Frida's kind of everywhere right now. She's kind of had like there's been a renaissance of the love of Frida recently in the last 15, 20 years. So it's kind of.
Every state I show
I'm sorry?
in every state I show in too, like I find that some pieces are more like regional where like, in this city people love this image and in that city they love this, but Frida is one that just everywhere people just love her.
She's obviously, her image is obviously speaking to somebody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Usually when I show a Frida piece, she's gone like immediately, and this
Yeah.
one about a month ago. So
nice.
First festival.
Nice. Well, and back to the pandemic again, guys. We're doing these virtual happy hours because I mean, there's not a single person watching this that has not been affected by this very strange year. Every one of us are affected by it, and I think it's important to point out that the festival. People think of the artists and the food, but what you don't realize is that's 300 artists. That's nearly 600 volunteers. 20 or more food vendors, all the people who work the festival. We've all faced this over, twice this year. And Jennifer, another artist, they faced it. How many times this year have you faced? Oops, can't do that.
20, 25 shows a year. So it's been strange being at home so much because you get used to being a road warrior and constantly going, oh, I'm driving to Miami this week. I'm driving to Seattle this week. And now I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, at least my van's saving on some mileage, right?
Exactly. Now, you said you drive across the country. What's the farthest trip you've ever done, like in one trip?
Like I've been on the road. Like usually I'll do like 4 shows, so I'll be on the road for like a month. So I did Dallas to Chicago to Seattle and then back to Chicago. So the biggest pressure is when I'm either driving from like Michigan from Ann Arbor to Seattle or from Chicago to Sausalito. They're both like 35-hour drives that I have 3 days to make them in. And that doesn't count stopping. So it's like you're driving for like 13, 14 hours a day. And of course, I'll say the last day will be the bit of the drive when you're in the mountains and it's like, oh, it's going to take so much longer to try and get a sprinter up this mountain.
Right. Well, and for those of you who've never experienced the beauty and the delight of artist load in on a Friday night at 9 p.m. So you just heard that Jennifer drove for 15 hours. Then she gets to Houston and I'm standing there like, you can't come on site yet, but in an hour and a half you can. And so it's this chaos kind of. We're trying to get the artists loaded in and they're lined up in their vans with their art ready to go. So it's important for you to understand if you're watching that these artists are coming from all over. I mean, Jennifer, you live in Dallas, but it doesn't mean you're coming to Houston from Dallas. You might be coming from, I don't know, in the fall, where would you be coming from? Probably Dallas, right?
Yeah, the weekend before we have a show in Dallas, so at least that's like a short, like 4-hour drive. But it also like I bring like 3,000 pounds of equipment that I move for each show, like tent, walls, art, all my prints. And I literally weighed my van empty on like a grain elevator and then weighed it full, and it's 3,000 pounds that typically I move by myself. So it takes me like 8 hours to set up for a show. So when we get in like late night for setup, I mean, I might be there till 4 a.m. setting up, and then be ready to sell at 10 a.m. But
right.
you know, it's like
that's right.
So exhilarating to show your work, so like you don't get tired, you just keep moving. And
right. Well, and then she shows up. I'm the artist relations director, so I communicate with all the festival artists from the beginning, the application process, the jury process. These artists that are in the show, they're juried because it's a fine art festival, and then I communicate with them throughout the whole event and after. And when we're going to pause. Hi, Harry. Oh, I'm going to introduce to you Harry McMahon. He's with Frost Bank, and he's going to speak to us a little bit about Frost Bank and their mission. Are you with us? I think we're a little bit stuck. I saw this morning on CBS News, and they handle it very well as well. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Oh, there he is. Hi, Harry. I don't think we can hear you. Is in front of one of our beautiful murals in Houston, Texas, but we can't hear you.
Well, here, can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
Technology's great when I can work it. Thank you. My name is Harry McMahon, and I'm excited to be here. I'm with Frost Bank, and I'm proud to represent Frost Bank and the thousands of Frost bankers who work hard every day to make our communities better places to live and work. And a lot of that has to do with events just like this. Frost has been in business for more than 150 years, and we've been in the Houston area for about 43 years. Even so, some people still aren't familiar with everything we do and aren't familiar with Frost. So a few years ago, we decided to change that, and we started an expansion that will nearly double our Houston presence by adding 25 financial centers. So to date, we've already opened 19 of those, and we'll have the rest open in the next few months. Wow. Along the way, we've filled more than 210 new positions, and we're still hiring. So we are dedicated to the community. But for all our history, it's been a big tradition of ours to give back to the communities where we have operations. Part of that sponsoring is programs just like Save Our Art. And so we're able to work with great artists just like Jennifer of Dallas. And so we're here in Texas. We're working all over Texas. And so it's great that we're featuring Jennifer today. But on behalf of all of us at Frost, welcome. And thanks for letting us be a part of the event.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Frost Bank. Thank you so much for all your support.
Great to see you. Take care.
You too. Ciao, ciao. All right. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Frost Bank. Again, just want to thank our sponsors, Stella Artois and and KPRC2 and Frost Bank. We couldn't have done this without them and their help. And again, I just want to reiterate if you want to donate to the Bayou City Art Festival so that we can continue our mission to bring our Fine Art Festival and unique art experiences to the city of Houston, please text Save Our Art, all one word, to 243725. And before we continue our conversation with Jennifer, I just want to tell you we're 49 years old, you know, and we've been around. We're a Houston staple. Some of you may have remembered the Westheimer Art Colony Festival. And if you do, you can post pictures and use our hashtag HOU ArtFest, Save Our Art. You will let us know your story. So we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to continue on with you. Join us this fall for our virtual event, October 5th through 11th, on our website at www.bayoucityartfestival.com. Okay, Jennifer, we were talking about the festival. And again, this virtual event in no way is going to replace actually seeing the art, but it can kind of maybe widen our audience. Maybe somebody who doesn't know about, they might know you, they might be watching because they know you, but they don't know the festival, or they might know the festival, but they don't know you. So there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of growth here, and hopefully that's what's going to happen with this. Okay. We talked about the pandemic. Again, I want to remind you, if you have questions, please ask them in the comments section of the live feed. I'm just standing by waiting for questions for Jennifer. Tell us a little bit about the two ladies sitting behind you.
Yes, well, some icons here. We have Miss Marilyn and Miss Frida. So my series, I try and work on it like a new one at least every year, maybe use like the Pantone color of the year. So this one's kind of like ultraviolet Frida. And then I've done quite a few Marilyns, usually like based on Warhol's paintings, but just thought that like the kind of neutral colors would be fun for a change. So my next series I'm working on is like a black and white series, which is weird because I'm so obsessed with color, but there's so much color in blacks, white, and gray. They really kind of like shine, and yeah, so I'm excited to get to that.
And you're in your studio, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the questions I was going to ask is, do you have any paint swatches lying around? Well, clearly you do. Why don't you show the viewers what you got going on?
So this is like an old collection of Glidden paint swatches, which they don't make anymore. Like these, they still have Glidden, but not in this style. We've got Benjamin Moore here. Like Kelly Moore was so kind. Like I felt bad because in college, I started by getting them from stores, and then I reached out to all the companies. So I've got boxes and boxes of Kelly Moore swatches, Sherwin-Williams swatches, and then behind the paintings is where I have like all the companies kind of mixed in together. So like this is my drawer of pink swatches, all the different companies, and then they're all like, I have like a pinkish gray, light pink, so it's all very like organized. Like it takes forever to get the paint swatches even ready to be to the point of like even being able to use them. So organized as I can get it.
Somebody really wants to contact you tonight. They're probably like, let me see you live. Okay.
Just text them and tell them, hey, stop, leave me alone.
So your studio kind of looks like a candy store for anybody who loves color. I know that when that book comes out, or I have my friends, my graphic design friends that have that Pantone book, it's just, I can look at that for hours. It's just so much color and it's beautiful. I love it. So before we started this broadcast, we were kind of talking on the side about how you get these swatches. I thought that was an interesting story.
Yeah, so like it started out in college, I was there buying lumber, and the organization of the paint would grab my eye. So I started like, oh, I'm gonna take a few, and then well, there's many stores I can go around and get enough to make paintings. And I'm like, this is just wrong. Like people are actually using these to buy the paint. So I just emailed all the different companies. I'm like, hey, I'm a Dallas-based artist, using paint swatches to create artwork. Is there any way that you would be willing to donate some? And I mean, they literally send like a semi truck full of paint swatches, palettes of color to my house, send them from California to Texas free of charge. They're happy to like donate like last year's colors. I also found like there's these events called Zero Landfill around the country. So they save like, tiles, paint swatches, all these random materials, and they give them to artists and teachers. So you just show up, take what you want. And a lot of the events are kind enough to save the paint swatches for me. So.
That's great.
Yes, so kind.
And that's recycling, reusing. You're turning it into lovely works of art. And we have a question from our viewers, from Susie. How long does it take you to make one of these large pieces?
Oh goodness, like I don't really keep track because I don't want to know. I mean, I spend months on some pieces, weeks on others. It kind of depends on the size. Like I even like work while I'm on the road because I'll bring this one box of color and then just kind of like plan it out as I'm staying in different hotel rooms around the country. When it comes to commissions, it kind of depends on my show schedule in the past. And then like if I have other commissions lined up. So I usually quote for like custom pieces like 4 to 6 months. But sometimes I can get them done sooner. But I build everything myself in my workshop, in my wood shop, so I can do like any specific size. I do tend to work larger just because you can get more detail because it's the resolution, the number of squares that I'm using. That's why I tend to like zoom in on faces versus doing like full length, because then there's not really enough information. But I kind of like the pieces where you really can't tell what it is until you really stand back.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what your brain does, like kind of blending colors and recognizing the image. So everybody kind of sees them a little bit differently, just based on your like reference to the image, I guess. So I usually zoom in, but sometimes I do like full length ones too. So
And do you ever work live, like when you're at the festival? Is that something you've done or you do?
yeah, absolutely. Like I'll have to do all the planning and cutting and stacking of each row in the studio, but I can glue them down at shows. I mean, with all of these colors, I obviously can't bring all of this to a show, but if I get it all planned out, like I'll stack them up in little like craft boxes and I can just glue the pieces down one at a time at the show. And people are like, how are you figuring this out right now?
Like,
But it's because all the hard work is done, the weeks of work is done. And like, I mean, but even gluing down a piece, like to glue like a piece like this will take like maybe 3 days to glue it down. So
Wow. And I've seen time lapse video of you doing this, some of like just video. Do you have any of that on your website that people can watch?
I post a lot of my time lapse videos on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
I don't really have videos on my website because I have so many images. It's already pretty bogged down. But yeah, for my time lapse, follow me at Jennifer Lashbrook Art, and I'll have some time lapse videos there for you.
I'm glad you brought up Instagram. So you can find Jennifer Lashbrook Art that, on Instagram, but also your website where you sell your work. What is that?
JenniferLashbrook.com.
It's pretty easy, right? Good. Yeah.
I have a very strange last name, so there's not too many Lashbrooks.
It's memorable though. It's memorable. All right. I think we're getting close to our trivia time, but before we ask the first trivia question, I do want to ask you, how has pop culture influenced your art? Now, it's kind of obvious you have two pop icons behind you. You've already mentioned Andy Warhol. He's a pop artist, but I've seen the Beatles, Elvis, Marilyn. Who else do you kind of feature, and how has pop culture really just fed into what you do?
Musicians like I've got Biggie, I've got Morrison, Hendrix, because with the pixelation, people need to have like a familiarity with the image to really like see it and get the detail. Since I'm not giving so much with like brush strokes, it's just a piece of color. When it resonates in their mind, like Gestalt psychology, you see what you're familiar with and you kind of add details to it. So I tend to go with images that people like know and love. Rosie the Riveter. I just did like John Wayne, the Lone Ranger, just random things that people know and love from the past and their history. So, I mean, and what's great about the style.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I think it's interesting when someone sees, like, sometimes your work, you can't see it until you focus on it, but it does. Some of those pop icons, they're in our subconscious, whether we realize it or not. So that you're using very recognizable people that someone might come along and go, I think I know what that is. Oh, I know exactly what that is. So
right. Like I have this one of Betty Page, and when you see it, people are like, is this a penguin? I have no idea what this is.
Right.
When you look at it at a distance through your phone, like it even surprises me because there's no definition in her lips, but you literally see a smile come out, and it's just because once your brain recognizes it's a human form, then you kind of even add more detail into it than you can see.
And we're all very familiar with the image of Elvis and Marilyn, but in this way, in this kind of pixelated way. I think we have another question from the audience. We definitely want to get these questions to you. You're popular tonight, Jennifer. Let's see. Where did it go? I'm sorry, bear with. Okay, so asks, I've never seen anything like your art before. What inspired or drew you to do this with swatches? We kind of covered that a little bit, but if you want to go into that a little bit deeper.
Absolutely. Like, I think, Salvador Dali did like the first pixelation with his Abraham Lincoln Gala contemplating the Mediterranean. And I always like loved his surrealistic work, the realism in it too. And then I discovered Chuck Close, who's one of my favorite artists, with his like concentric circle oil paintings. And so he had a big influence on the pixelation. But like when I switched like from my realism, like if you look at some of the older pieces on my website, I was taking paint swatches and then cutting them out just like they were brush strokes, where they're like super realistic, no question about what it is. And my struggle was, how do I get the viewer to realize what the material is? Because a lot of people thought that those were just paintings. So I thought, well, I think if you only cut out squares, then people will try to investigate what the material is. And so that kind of started the pixelation, and so Chuck Close is a big influence on that.
Nice. All right. Well, it is time for our first trivia question. And for those of you watching, you can answer the trivia question in the comments section of this live feed on YouTube or Facebook Live, whatever you want. We have people watching both. And we have some pretty cool swag packages. We have one of the swag prize packs is a Yeti Frostbank tumbler, Houston Life mug and mask, very timely, Bayou City Art Festival koozie, and also a Save Our Art t-shirt, hot off the presses. I'm wearing one right now.
Yes.
So you can be a walking billboard. And from Stella Artois, it's either an insulated cooler or polo shirt. So those are the prizes. So let's ask our first question. In Frida Kahlo's Las Dos Fridas, what major organ is outside of her body? Okay. Answer the question in the comment section. The first person to answer will win, and we will announce your name soon, and then we'll contact you. Let's see. All right. So again, let me ask that question one more time in case you missed it. In Frida Kahlo's Las Dos Fridas, what major organ is outside of her body? All right. We want to remind you, please, if you're enjoying, it sounds like you're enjoying Jennifer because her phone's going off. We're getting a lot of questions. She's super popular. And that's kind of like how at the festival, Jennifer's booth is always full. You have life at your booth. You bring life. You're a heartbeat. And I can say that when she arrives in that big white van, I can be so stressed out, hot, rocking a side pony. She shows up, she says, "Hey, mama," and everything just gets better. And that's who Jennifer is. And that's why she's a part of this happy hour series, because she is a light. So she's super popular tonight. We want to remind you to post your pictures. If you have a picture of you with one of Jennifer's pieces, please post it. Please use the hashtags HOU ArtFest, Save Our Art, BCA, and Jennifer Lashbrook. We'll just do a new hashtag, please. And also another reminder, text to donate, text Save Our Art to 243-725 so we can continue our mission to bring you unique art experiences. By the end of this broadcast, you're going to have that memorized, I promise, because I'm going to repeat it several times. And then we're going to remind you, I think at this point, Jennifer's print, the Houston Skyline, is on our Facebook at this point, and you can start bidding in the comments. The highest bidder wins, and bidding will end at 7:30. And this is all part of our Save the Art campaign. So we want to thank Jennifer again. She, not only is she a light, not only is she always bringing smiles to my day at the festival, she's donating this print to help us. And it's artists like her that is why we do this, bring her stuff and her light to Houston, along with the other artists. And we want to continue to do that for you guys. We don't want to go anywhere. So help us continue our mission. And thank you, Jennifer. Again,
I'm gonna throw in another surprise print in that. So whoever wins the print, whoever bids the highest is gonna get an additional surprise for me.
Thank you. See, that's literally who she is. She's a light. She's definitely a light. I think we might have a winner. Yes, we do. Susie from Humble, Texas is a winner of our trivia question. Frida Kahlo's Las Dos Fridas, what major organ was outside of her body? Jennifer?
Her heart.
Her heart. Because if you know Frida, she wore her heart outside of her body. Her work is very personal. So congratulations, Susie. We will get your prize pack to you. You have won a Yeti Frostbank tumbler. Thank you, Frostbank. Houston Life mug and mask, Bayou City Art Festival koozie, and a Save Our Art t-shirt, just like the one I'm wearing right now, and a Stella Artois polo t-shirt or an insulated cooler. And we will get that to you. All right. So we've been talking about the festival a lot. Okay, that's what we're doing here. Jennifer, how long have you been participating with the Bayou City Art Festival?
Since 2013.
Wow. So you're older than me as far as the festival. I've been here since 2015. So you started in.
Well, that's what became memorable for me. Okay, girl. I started off doing the fall one, and then I've been doing spring and fall every year for the last few years. So it's like
what keeps you
one of my favorite shows.
What keeps you?
I mean, such a vibe. Like, I mean, the festival is so well ran. The food trucks are amazing. The artists are amazing. It's such a great collective of work. I mean, like you said, it's a juried show. So like going from coast to coast, you can tell when you're at a show, like, oh, you know, this is going to be good because this artist is here and this artist is here. So y'all do such a great job of curating the show, and people really come out to support too. It's like always two of my best shows of the year every year.
Nice. Good. Well, we love having you out there. She brings a lot. We have a lot of different kind of art out there. So we have a lot of classical pieces, and then we have, some pop culture pieces. And it's just beautiful seeing your work out there in person. When we do come back with live shows, you're definitely going to want to go out there and see her work. And especially since she's so popular and now you keep blowing her phone up, go out there and see her at the Bayou City Art Festival. We have more questions coming in. Let's see. Okay. Gabriel says, "Hi, Jen. It's Gabe. How do you choose your subject?" He knows who Gabe is, I guess.
I didn't hear that it was from him. What was the question?
How do you choose your subjects?
I mean, it's so hard to choose because there's so many things that I want to do. I feel like I will literally never run out of ideas. So, I mean, I have a list a mile long of subjects that I want to cover. And if Gabe has any good ideas for me, let me know. He's always like, comes to every show, and he's such a great guy. So,
is Gabe here in Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, Gabe. Well, we hope to see you back as soon as we have live events. And in the meantime, Gabe, I'll see you online October 5th through the 11th. Is that correct? We have another question. You are super popular tonight. This is awesome. Let's see. Cicely asks, what's been the pros and cons of being a full-time artist during the pandemic?
I mean, the cons are obviously that shows are canceled, but thank goodness for the amazing collectors who are still contacting me for commissions, buying things on my website, and the kind benefactor of the Bayou City show. I mean, it's just people are being so kind to artists, and they realize the plight that we're going through. And I feel people have really been trying to support the arts. And pros, I mean, just getting to spend extra time with family and getting to just focus on creating and not selling, because, once you, create your own business selling art, you don't realize you're doing 10-20% artwork, and the rest is marketing, driving, setting up all the little details. And it's I have so much time to actually just make new work. And it's just been really nice to get to live at my house for a while. Home is where you lay your head, but I wonder how many nights a year I spend in hotel rooms,
wow,
during a typical year. So it's just nice to be home. I've used my pool more this year than I have in the 11 years I've owned my house.
Nice. See, and I don't think a lot of people really truly understand what life a festival circuit artist's life. I mean, you've done gallery shows, but the circuit, the festival circuit, it's not for the faint of heart. It is not.
It's really not at all. And like, I get comments all the time, like, you're doing this by yourself. Like, I mean, to be a female and drive state to state and like with no worries, like, okay, I'm gonna take off and I'm gonna drive to Miami and staying in hotels, setting up your tent. Like, I do a double tent. Like, I can't tell you, like, most of the time you're next to neighbors who are so kind to help you like raise the tent and put the legs on, but I've had to do it all by myself before, and it takes every ounce of strength that I have to get the tent lifted, all the walls. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it's an 8-hour setup, 3,000 pounds of equipment. Like, it's kind of intense, and then you're doing like show after show after show every weekend, and the whole time in between is driving to the show. Like, there's like really no time to focus on responding to emails, marketing yourself. You're just focused on the next event. So it has been nice to breathe because it's been like nonstop for 7 years, but also it's like, oh, I miss all my friends from the shows. I miss my artist friends. I miss my director friends. I miss my patron friends. But it's been a nice change of pace, just kind of relaxing for a little bit and creating some new work to show y'all next year.
There you go. And also you'll be putting new work on your website at jenniferlashbrook.com and on Instagram. Please follow her. She's awesome. We love her. My producer's asking a question. Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, my producer. We're trying to be. We did our first happy hour with Derek Shore, and he was amazing. He is a host on Houston Live, so the whole time I was writing notes, like, okay, do this, and because Jennifer and I were talking earlier, and I think I mentioned this even earlier. We haven't seen many people in 5 months. And all of a sudden, like, let's go live. You know what I mean? But it's kind of intimidating. But we're here because regardless of everything that we've been through, it is our job as festival producers and Jennifer's desire to keep art in the conversation and to make people happy or sad sometimes, even like kind of to comment on what's happening. Do you foresee yourself making a pandemic piece?
Yeah, I've seen some amazing artists who have done some great work. I haven't really come up with an idea that I want to execute yet about that. So no plans yet, but we'll see what I come up with.
Well, our producer Kelly is really excited about what I'm about to ask you. She was so excited and said, "Ask." So Jennifer has 2 pieces on 2 different sets. And we think that's awesome. One of her pieces is on the set of Empire, a little show. What's that?
I have 2 pieces on that set.
She has 2 pieces on the set of Empire. That's awesome. Like, that's legit. That's some cred right there.
And not just on the set. Like, my $100 bill is in the recording studio, so it was on like pretty much every episode. Like it was a prime location. Like, so
that's amazing. I remember when I heard about it, I basically told everybody I know, because I'm like, it's kind of a big deal. She's on the set of Empire, because that show's hot. And you also have on the set of a Netflix series. Is that correct?
A Netflix movie called Beats with Anthony Anderson.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice.
My Basquiat piece is on that.
Nice.
So cool because they borrowed the piece or rented the piece to use, and then the director liked it so much they ended up buying it for his own collection.
How does that feel? Like, honestly, that must feel really good.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you've seen, sorry.
No, just things like that. Like, you never know who you're talking to at any show. You never know. So the Empire thing came from doing a show in Chicago. I'm featured on Forbes Contemporary Artist List from doing a show in Minneapolis, and it's just like you just never know who you're talking to and what can come from it, and just keep grinding, and then things keep happening.
Right. And last week we talked to Amanda Bennett, and she was kind of talking about what it's like to have your piece or a piece of you inside someone's house, and you're on the set. So what does that feel like? Because it must be a part of your soul almost, that's kind of, you put your heart and soul into this piece, and now all these people get to enjoy it. And it means a lot if someone buys one of your pieces and says, I want to look at that for a long time. What does that feel like?
Right. Right. That's why I always love it when my collectors will send the images of my work in their home. It's like these are literally my children. I like to know where they live. I like to know the surroundings they're in. So and it means a lot so much when people collect multiple pieces and like to be included on a TV show that's like so popular and that so many people see. Like even when I haven't been displaying a print of that $100 bill, people recognize my work just from the paint swatches and seeing it on there. And it's just crazy and humbling, and I'm just like so honored, and it's kind of amazing.
That's kind of rock star, actually. It's pretty rock star. It's legit. We want to do a trivia question number 2 because we're kind of getting near the end of our broadcast here, which is weird because I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be an hour, but it's almost gone now. So, and it's kind of fun to sit here with lipstick on and talk to Jennifer. Usually we rock in the side pony and like one eyelash is hanging down because we're out there on site. But now it's like, oh, look, we get to, look like people who wear lipstick and flip our hair back. Yeah, exactly. It's nice. So you're kind of getting to see us catch up. Trivia question number 2, answer in the comment section of YouTube or Facebook, whatever you're watching. Which artist's work has been stolen more than any other artist? Is it A, Rembrandt, B, Picasso, or C, Da Vinci? Answer in the comment section. I'll ask the question again. Which artist's work has been stolen more than any other artist? A, Rembrandt, B, Picasso, C, Da Vinci. All right, answer that question, and we're going to remind you again about the print that is being auctioned for our Save the Art campaign. And she has kindly said whoever wins that winning bid, she's going to throw in a little something extra. So, I mean, she's on the set of Empire, guys. You're going to want to, you want this piece, you want these pieces, and have a piece of her in your home. And thank you again, Jennifer, for donating and being so kind. She's always, anytime that I've sent out a question to the artist, she's usually one of the first people to respond back with, what can I do? And that's why she's here with us tonight, because when we were thinking about this, I was like, of course, we have to have Jennifer. I mean, she's always one of our first artists to help us out. So thank you, Jennifer. You help us continue our mission. And these, the artists and the festival circuit, we're a circle. We're a circle. We need you, you need us. So that's why we do this together. Do we have any more questions from the audience? I feel like I'm just, what was that?
I'd love to show you the piece that I'm donating for the virtual event too.
Awesome.
Can I grab it?
Yes, she has, and she was the first person actually to donate a piece to our virtual event. We'll have amazing. Look at that. Guys, she's donated. This is based our silent auction that takes place October 5th through 8th on our website. What is it called, Jennifer?
It's called Frida with Birds. So whereas this is a portrait of the artist herself, that one's an image of one of her paintings, which is a self-portrait, but it's a little bit different than the actual image of the artist.
And just to reiterate, Jennifer donated that to our cause for our virtual event that takes place October 5th through the 11th. The online auction, actually takes place the 5th through the 8th. So again, join us for that virtual event. I have a question. Cicely Miller answered correctly. Which artist's work has been stolen more than any other artist? Pablo Picasso. It does not surprise me. Did you know that, Jennifer?
I did know that one. Yes, I'm working on a portrait of him right now, actually.
Are you really?
I really am.
She's like, yeah, I really am.
Project for this.
Nice. All right, we want to remind you that if you have pictures of yourself enjoying her cocktail, please upload it on social media and tag us. That's how we talk to each other, especially now. I mean, we've had a year of reinventing the wheel, right? And I can tell you that back in March, I had no idea that I'd be sitting here. I figured I'd be sitting here working on artist packets, but here we are online. This is something that none of us saw coming, and it affects every single one of us. And in order for us to keep doing what we do, we rely on our patrons. And I just, so many of you, when we sent out the announcement that we're going to reimagine our event as a virtual event, so many patrons sent back supportive, like, tell the artists that we care. We'll be there the day that we have live events again. So they care about you guys too. So let's see. Oh, good question. What's the Dallas art scene like right now?
I mean, we don't really have that many festivals here. I mean, there's, Cottonwood and Richardson and Deep Ellum, and they've obviously been canceled for spring and fall. So I mean, we've got some awesome like graffiti artists and muralists here in town. Um, and I've got some friends that do great work. Unfortunately, the gallery that I was showing at here in Dallas closed with the pandemic, and so did the one in Key West. But I mean, I've got some amazing artist friends here for sure.
Nice. A close community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice. And then again, I want to reiterate, if you want to, you can bid on the piece tonight, the print, and then later you can bid in October on our website for our Save the Art virtual experience. But also you can go directly to Jennifer's website and purchase art. She has, I was there today. She has loads of stuff available. So you're definitely going to want to check her out. Okay, we have another question, and this is from a volunteer, a very dedicated volunteer. You've probably met her. Her name is Teresa. Let's see. So, and she says, sometimes when I look at your art, it's just familiar images. Other times it starts to be a message there in a smile or a head tilt or expression. Is that the intention?
Some of the images that I've done of like some photographs that I've taken myself, there's, different poses and things trying to like show some different emotions. And, also like when you read into my pieces, like I try to use like color names in funny ways. So, like, of course, there's bubblegum pink on Marilyn's bubble. There's like, little details. So it's not just like surface value. You can sit there and actually like read the piece and find little Easter eggs, if you will. So try to hide some things in there for you guys.
We have another question. Goodness. Let's see. Is there a place, this is from Cynthia. Is there a place you like to visit when you're in Houston, like a restaurant, venue, park? Nice question.
Oh, goodness.
So,
I've been like lucky enough to stay with like past collectors who are always so kind to like go all out with meals and, wine and things like that. So, I get some lovely home cooked meals when I'm in Houston. The Rothko Chapel is amazing. But it's funny, like the little things you look forward to, like you'll have a burger truck that is just like amazing at the show that I always look forward to. But I don't really have like a favorite restaurant because, like I said, the Barrazas are always taking very good care of me.
Nice. I hope they're watching tonight. I think I've met them out there with you. They're very supportive. And that's kind of cool. So like she mentioned that she stays sometimes with clients, and I've heard that from other artists that this is a kind of an intimate thing. They have your work in their home and they're collectors. And for them, it must be really special that you have that relationship with them. Not only do they have your art, but they get to feed you. That's really old school and kind of classic, very freedom.
Me too. It's like, it's so nice to feel like you have family in all these different cities, because like it is hard to be on the road by yourself all the time, and to like look forward to like hanging out with some old friends. It's great. And they're so cute. They have one of my realistic Fridas from when I first started, and they send me pictures like they're feeding her like a glass of wine just as a joke. So yeah, they take good care of her.
That's really nice. That's nice. Yeah, and like my Frida piece is always behind me, and I put it in this really ornate gold frame. So just to see the difference between like this classic gold frame with this really modern piece, it's really cool. I love it. It's one of my favorite things in my home. Like I love it. I just want to remind our viewers one more time to bid on the piece. Bidding ends at 7:30, and then we'll announce. That print is called Houston Skyline. It's available to bid on our Facebook right now. Bid in the comments of that photo. Also want to reiterate that Jennifer will be a part of our virtual event, and she will be a part of our physical festival when we come back. And you're going to want to come out there and meet her. What you're seeing here is absolutely who she is. She's amazing. And she's a light. Like I said, she's a light to us. JenniferLashbrook.com is her website. Again, Save the Art campaign. Jennifer's one of the reasons why we want to save the art. Save our art. Text Save Our Art, all one word, to 243-725 to donate. So we have another question. Oh, yes. And before we're kind of getting near the end of our broadcast here. Before we totally end it, we do want to remind you that next week we'll have another Art Talk virtual happy hour with Houston artist Tony Parana. Now, I know I'm saying his name wrong. For those Houstonians, Tony Parana. If you feel like trying, it's Tony Parana. He's a character, y'all. If you've never, you know Tony, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
If you've never met Tony, like you're about to experience Tony. He is an experience. He is not just a person. He is an experience. That's next week, the 24th, right here at 6 p.m. And he's definitely going to probably be, who knows? He's probably going to sing. He's probably going to play his drums and paint something and sing with his baby. So you're going to want to see him. And he's been out there. He's been out at our festival as an artist. He was a featured artist, and then he played. He has a drum group that he plays with. So it's like he's just kind of this experience. So join us next week for that. So I want to remind our trivia winners. Thank you for participating. Thank you to all the questions. I think we have time for one more. This is the most questions we've had come in, so this is like super exciting. Susan says, your art reminds me of a Sunday afternoon on the island of Le Grand Château by George. I'm going to say his last name. How do you say it?
Right.
Oh, I feel so. Okay, I thought so, but I didn't want to say it wrong. Have you ever tried anything this complicated?
You know, I actually have done that exact piece before, and I sold it in the Bayou City Art Festival.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I wonder if she bought it and she's testing that out.
Yeah, you know, I don't have a print of it handy, but you can view it on my website. And it's one of my favorite pieces because it's one where in person you do not see anything at all. And it's one where people pull up their phones and, oh my goodness, like the reactions were.
That's super cool.
I want to revisit it maybe in more detail, just because, I mean, there's so much to that piece. But I kind of liked wait, I have no idea what this is. So, yep, I've absolutely done that piece.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to scroll someone's brain out until they realize what they're looking at, right?
Absolutely. The reactions at my booth are hysterical. Like, people are like, you must get tired of this. Absolutely not. It is amazing. Like, people are, you know, the reactions are quite entertaining, let's say.
Nice. And I love that you mentioned earlier, you kind of got your start watching Happy Trees. Is that correct?
You know, and that to this day, I always sign in red because of Bob Ross.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome, actually. He's such a chill thing to chill out with on Netflix. If you're stressed out during COVID, watch Bob Ross's painting shows on Netflix. It'll put you right to sleep. It's so beautiful. Him and his little squirrel.
Happy Tree.
Every day.
Only happy
Jennifer is amazing. I think you can tell. We're big fans of her. And I want you to visit her website. I want you to look at her art. I want you to anticipate seeing her in person, seeing her booth. She has a sign that says, I don't want to butcher it, but it basically says, you know, look at it through your cell phone. And she's always interacting with her patrons, and she's a light. So Jennifer, thank you so much. It's really special to be able to spend this time with you because I haven't seen you in a year. It's so weird. Last year I load out, I'm like, bye, see you in a few months. No, in a year. So it's really lovely to spend some time with you. And thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. And before we end the broadcast, I want to say thank you, patrons. Thank you for all the emails that you send into our inbox. We do read those. And thank you for your support. Thank you for wanting us to pass along to the artists that you care about them. That means a lot to all of us. Once again, our virtual experience will be on our website, October 5th through 11th, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, text Save Our Art to 243-725. And thank you guys. Keep rocking and rolling. We're going to make it through this. Okay? Bye, guys.